other, and 1 point behind them, Niemann and Duda. Remember, top 8 goes through to the knockout stage. And here we are, Praggnanandhaa against Magnus. This is one of our favorite matchups in the tour. Pragg has beaten Magnus several times, and with the white pieces.
Yeah, Pragg is especially dangerous with the white pieces. Just great opening preparation. For someone so young, it's rare to achieve such a kind of dynamic, kind of bulletproof opening repertoire, but he has that. And Magnus, starting in provocative fashion, he's gone for the modern defense. And we've seen him employ this before yesterday with success. Magnus Carlsen. Pragg has clearly come prepared. White's H-pawn marching forward. Simon, you must be loving this right now.
Well, the last move is a surprise, actually. I mean, I love, as you know, pushing the H-pawn. And normally, though, you prepare this move first by defending that square. And I've actually played this position as white and black. I normally played it as white in blitz games as a bit of a punt, but very interesting idea. I mean, we can maybe show the critical line here, I think, because there's only one move that really you can play, I think, and that would be knight takes pawn.
Yeah, let's keep an eye as well on Magnus's reaction. He looked so devastated after this move was played. Looks so disturbed. So let's keep an eye on the players' cameras and let's jump in.
It's a very interesting idea that in a chessboard course that I did along with Richard Pallister, that here you go G4. OK, wow, he's actually given up the exchange. What an absolute maniac. So that's all I'm going to say. Pragg wants to kill Magnus.
He's your hero.
I mean, kill the king. This is extreme chess. I mean, he's given up the exchange so early and he's going straight for the attack. I mean, it's obviously incredibly dangerous. The knight's coming in, the bishop's coming in. This is like old romantic 19th century chess, 18th century chess even. So, wow, I mean, he's obviously prepared it as well, you know, with the speed he's moving at the same time.
This is how to beat the best players in the world, right? Just show them zero respect, just attack them. And not only has Pragg sacrificed material, as you mentioned, but he's actually, the evaluation bar loves White's position. And that's rare. The computer normally is very skeptical unless there's a forcing variation. But Magnus, caught by a surprise, just pushing a pawn forward 1 square. Maybe he wants to use his queen just to defend the pawn next to it. This is the target, right? This is the weakness.
I'd be interested to know if this has been played before. I mean,
it has been played before.
The whole idea of H4, H5 is very common, isn't it, Jovanka?
Yeah.
And who's actually played it?
So, OK, so we have a game between Ganguly against Karthikeyan, and that ended in a win for White.
OK, so 2 very strong Indian grandmasters there. Maybe that's inspired Pragg's choice. Maybe Pragg is aware of that game. And here, I mean, so many tempting moves. White can castle queenside, just putting the king to safety, tucking it away in the corner, and then bringing the rook into the game. White could also just bring a knight out, getting ready to kind of come forward and attack this weakness. It's also slightly tempting for White to, at some point, bring his bishop to attack the black queen. Maybe you wait for that queen to move before you jump in here. But, yeah, I mean, plenty of choices here. And black is going to be on the defense. It's actually quite a long-term sacrifice. Black's king is not going to find safety for at least another 5-6 moves. Yeah,
but it's like you said, David, this is the way you've got to play against the world champion. I mean, Magnus has got the best understanding of slow positional games out of anyone probably who's ever played chess. So you've got to just try to destroy him, you know, try to kill him before he can get out of bed. And that's exactly what Pragg's doing. I really like the sacrifice. I mean, I haven't studied it before, but the more I'm looking at it, it's just so easy to play. Like you say, all those moves you suggested, David, make a lot of sense. Even pushing a pawn in the centre, you know, stopping, you know, allowing a knight to come into that square, stopping a queen coming over to defender. He's actually gone for this one straight away. And this is, you know, it's looking really scary, but you are the exchange up, of course.
Yeah, you are the exchange up as black. You just need to survive the next few moves, and that's not a guarantee. As you mentioned, Simon, if black is too slow, I mean, black's natural move, maybe bringing the knight out. But now there are threats, serious threats, attacking the queen. You can't block, really. I mean, if you move your queen, the white knight might jump in. It might start coming into this dream square. It's really dangerous. Already, you might just castle queenside. You might just say, OK, how are you ever going to get the black king to safety? The black king will never find safety on this flank, and it's actually cut off, so it can't castle through check onto the other side of the board.
I tell you what,
terrifying.
Yeah, Magnus is hating this, isn't he, Jovanka?
But there's one conclusion I've drawn from that: don't allow that bishop to that square.
It looked too scary.
Yeah, that means you have to take a timeout to stop this.
But then,
if you take a timeout, push your pawn to the square to prevent white from using it, then you've lost even further time. And white will definitely castle queenside now, and maybe it's still playable. It's still hard to break through for white, but I know, Simon, all of your creative juices are flowing right now. You're getting excited.
Go for it, Simon.
White.
Show us what you can do.
Just any old iron, you know, just literally get the pieces out, aiming at your opponent's king, checkmate. That's all you need to do, right? Maybe you go d5 at the right moment, blow that open as well.
Yeah.
You know, you could really enjoy this position.
I don't know. I find these quite stressful. I think it's
Really?
because I'm like such a cautious person.
You find these stressful from white or from black?
Yeah, because it's like if you know, you make a mess of it. That's it.
I love these positions. It's like, you know, you just literally go towards your opponent's king and you don't have to think about anything else. There's no subtlety. It's like home in and destroy. So it's strange, isn't it? Different person, you know, different ways of looking at the game is what makes it so exciting though as well, you know? Because I often overpress in these kind of things. So, yeah.
It's different styles, I guess. And this is one style that Magnus hates playing against. I just remember when I played him, we were both 18 years old, and in the taxi after the game, he was saying, I just hate it when they start attacking me from the beginning, when they show me no respect.
Wow.
And, I mean, I've never done that against him. I'm not brave enough to attack, but not in this manner, kind of just so direct. But
thing is, if you play this opening as black, it's probably the riskiest opening you can play as black, the perk. You're going for an incredibly sharp counter-attacking game. You must expect this kind of thing. And I think you could see in his body language, as soon as Pragg pushed Harry up to that square, he was uncomfortable. You know, he was like, oh, I've allowed this, you know. So he really, his body language is, you know, it just doesn't seem like he's enjoying this at all. I mean, would anyone enjoy this position with the black pieces, just defending against all the white's pieces coming in?
I mean, not unless you've prepared it really deeply with a computer and you can guarantee you'll survive the next 5-6 moves. But there's no guarantee here for black. We just showed one variation that was very scary, white's bishop coming forward. But that's probably one of multiple variations, possible ideas that Pragg has in the next few moves. And look how comfortable Pragg is right now. He's starting his typical rocking, getting the energy pumping, but Magnus, we saw it immediately, as you mentioned, Simon, but also leaning back. He's now head in hands. Could we be seeing another victory by the young Indian over Magnus?
Incredible.
Pragg beats him so often, doesn't he?
He's won 4 individual games in the tour.
Wow.
He beat him in the in the final of Miami, in the final round recently.
One on demand as well.
I have three wins for Pragg on the stats list.
Maybe it's 3.
Yeah, 3, 2 draws, 5 wins for Magnus this season.
Yeah. Could this be game number 4, win number 4 for Pragg?
I mean, Magnus is going to be front page news around the world for all the wrong reasons. Losing, you know, against Pragg in India, in Norway, you've already mentioned. It's the whole incident. It's going to be. Don't read the papers tomorrow, I'd suggest, to Magnus. I mean, if he loses this game. And I can just see him getting crushed here. I mean, OK, he's trying to keep the position closed and take away a square for the white knight. That makes a lot of sense, but it's now white's move. Can white increase the pressure here? Why he just castles? He doesn't care about being exchanged down.
Look at the evaluation bar. It thinks that white is just winning.
Wow.
I mean, still material down, remember. White is down a rook for a knight and a pawn, but the attack must just be kind of long-term. It must just be that dangerous, ferocious. Black's king, I just don't see it getting to safety anytime soon.
I mean, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, if you throw the knight towards black's king and try to castle, you know, where you're safest as black, I mean...
Maybe that's the problem, Simon. You can't get your king to safety.
Yeah, I guess so, because you actually can't put the knight in front of the queen. What am I talking about? That's a horrendous move to play. Maybe the worst move on the board.
Whoops.
Yes, you just get your queen trapped. So, oh dear. Yeah, so there's a little bit of danger here. Well, Magnus has played... You say, when you're getting attacked, don't open up your king. So what's he done? He's opened up his king. So, very risky move that as well. But he's got to, I guess he's got to take risks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's banking on the fact that after a capture, he's solid enough. I mean, it looks shaky Actually, here, white's knight can maybe start jumping in, although black can just about survive. Bishop takes pawn, plugging all the holes. Looks very, very scary.
Knight comes out and... Whoa.
Yeah, we could go 10 moves deep there, but we won't. We'll wait to see what Pragg comes up with, but it would be very tempting, right? Just capture this pawn, open up the white rook, open up lines even further. And the reason this was working, this last variation, is because this pawn cannot really take the white knight. It is pinned. After all, yeah, if the white knight jumps into, if the white knight gets into this square, it's just game over.
Very natural to open a position.
I wonder what does Magnus have planned? I mean, you're just giving a pawn back. Actually, now it's level material, and you're getting attacked. Every piece is asleep, basically. I mean, this bishop is like, come on, wake up, the rest of you. You forgot to set your alarm clock.
Yeah. Maybe he's got Simon's idea in mind that now the knight can develop in front of the queen, and
Simon's looking at this.
Oh yeah, you know me too.
Blowing it open towards the black king. Oh whoops!
Oh dear me.
That's so scary.
Okay, forget that one. That's just too dangerous. But yeah, Pragg has said, yeah, I will welcome that opening, and now the bishop has developed that. That's a much better move.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's white to move, and it just looks like there's so many dangerous ideas here. I mean, developing can't be bad. Bring the knight around. I mean, there's many tempters. It's just very easy to play these positions when you're attacking because, again, you just look at your opponent's king, move pieces towards it, and materialistically, I mean, okay. I mean, he's only 1 point down. Let's remember now. Yeah, it was. I remember Bronstein, David Bronstein, one of the strongest players never to become world champion. He was doing a lecture I was at, and he basically said he loved the King's Gambit, going back to the romantic days. And he said that, you know, giving up the exchange at the start of the game is a great idea because minor pieces, knights and bishops, are better than rooks at the start of the game. It's only in the ending or late middle game where the rooks become more powerful than knights and bishops. And he made this point time and time again in some brilliant games in the King's Gambit that, you know, minor pieces are better than rooks. Look at the rooks. The rooks are not going to get in the game. And white's knights can. So you've got to survive that danger here for black somehow.
Yeah, Magnus, I think at this point, he's just, with his last couple of moves, he's just hoping. He's playing moves that he thinks kind of help long-term, but he's just hoping there's nothing short-term to crash through for Pragg. And for Pragg, I guess the biggest pitfall is that he gets carried away calculating kind of ideas, trying to force the win immediately, when he should, I think, as you mentioned, Simon, just keep things simple, develop pieces. White does have a couple of pieces that haven't moved either, so bring those into the battle.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of like stupid moves. As you can easily get carried away here, but don't take the pawn with the rook, Simon. Just calm down. And OK, he's played a more positional approach, right? I mean,
It blocked in the bishop.
He's blocked in the bishop, but he's keeping his strong pawn in the centre. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure I like that so much because it takes a bit of time, but it still looks very good according to the computer.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, the key is actually just to keep the black king stuck in the middle because, you know, living by Magnus's rules, the queen is threatening to come to step in front of the square in front of the king, and then the king will just hide away to safety.
Yeah, or maybe you just try to blow the position open with f5. I mean, pushing that pawn, you've moved again.
Yeah.
The knight can also develop. I mean, there's...
Oh, that looks...
I mean, it's...
Oh, this looks horrible.
It's very... I mean, you know, why not try checkmate? It's quite fun. giving it a go.
Quite fun. I guess it could backfire.
Could backfire here, I
Maybe
agree.
this pawn will drop, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chooses... I like this one as well, Simon. In a blitz game, you play this and you just checkmate and you win.
This is much more sensible.
Yeah.
Get the firepower in first, right? So, yeah.
Bring the knight in and ideas of this one. And Jovanka, you mentioned if the black queen moves,
Yeah.
then black is one move away from castling, one move away from safety. Several ideas here for white, but among them, maybe Simon's idea again.
Well, hello, I might take that pawn by rook now because I just can't resist it, just because it might be rubbish, but I've got to do it.
Maybe you could kind of... I think this is just a bit smelly for black, right?
It looks a bit scary for black, yeah. I mean, the other knight's coming in and...
Yeah, if you go here, there's a family fork, hitting everything. And yeah, if you, as you mentioned, if you go back to square one, then...
Maybe.
How do you survive? Checkmate threatened.
The bishop is coming in to attack that square. I mean...
But the beauty of defensive chess is that you sometimes don't need to take the material that's been offered.
Yeah, and white is a rook down, so...
Yeah, it's true. It might not work.
It might not work. But
it's just fun looking at these games because you rarely see this kind of romantic, old-school kind of way of playing.
Not since 1890 have I seen a game like this one.
Yeah, a long time before these guys were around, especially Pragg, right? So.
Pragg, yeah. So
This definitely is a battle of generations, these two.
yeah, and the young generation, I think the reason they're so successful is they are just fearless, and they haven't learnt that fear yet, and especially while they're young, they're being taught to keep attacking these top players. When I was younger, it was like, nah, just learn to draw against them first, just learn to survive, learn to kind of play positional chess against these top guys, fight them in that regard, but why not attack them? Why not go for the king? And that's exactly what Pragg is doing. It's really dangerous for Magnus right now. I mean, this variation just looks almost winning. The one that Simon pointed out, just pushing this pawn forward, breaking open further lines, hitting the queen, among other ideas. As he also mentioned, rook takes pawn looks very strong.
Maybe you have to bring the queen the other way, David. I mean, I love the idea of trying to castle the black king, right? You're not going to castle kingside. You have to go the long way where the queen is. You have to get the queen out the way. Let's bring the black queen all the way towards, as you say there, David, towards
And why can't you go kingside?
It's too open there. You need your pawns in front of your king. They're like your bodyguards, and there's a target. You always look for a square that you can attack in your opponent's camp, and there's a way here that white can easily bring a bishop in, threatening checkmate in one move there, because black doesn't have a pawn in front of the king. So that's why going the other way, it's a bit more blocked over there, and you want to put your king on the side where your opponent can't get through to it with his pieces.
It doesn't look more blocked to me, but...
There's no bishop, so you can get through on that side. So
it's about the enemy pieces, right? So where's white's kind of attacking potential? It's the queen, it's the knight, it's a few other pieces. At least if you castle on the other side, the queen is far away. The white queen is going to be the one doing the checkmating. So just run away as far as possible from her. She's the one chasing you. You might as well get a head start in the race.
Okay, so that's a rule for everyone. If you do castle after move 12, which you said is the ground rule, try to castle before move 12. But if it's after and the queen is in the game, try to look out for her and castle the other way.
Yeah, just don't castle into the eye of the storm. Don't castle into the fire. Yeah, here Magnus's move is almost automatic, and Pragg will try and find a way to make that less attractive.
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite funny. One of the things that I tell myself, or actually I tell my students who are very, very young, and I say, talk to your pieces, as in actually have a conversation with them. So if the king did go into the eye of the storm, and the king was like, hey, I need help, which one of the pieces is going to help? And if you actually talk to your pieces, the knights would go like, oh, no. Don't ask me. Yeah. Bishop, the dark square bishop, nope, you forget it. I ain't involved yet. And I give them all like little voice. Okay, this is why maybe I'm suited to teaching like 5-year-olds, but yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Have they ever done that in a tournament? They've sort of said, yeah, hello, right, where are you going now? And
just like Ivanchuk was, speaking throughout the games yesterday.
Yeah, it's true.
I just think that in the analysis portion, when you're by yourself or you're teaching someone, you should make it as fun as possible. And especially if you're engaging with young children, you need to activate the drama, the storytelling, because otherwise it can be just a bit boring.
Yeah.
And well, maybe that just kind of reflects on me, but I try to do that.
It reminds me of, again, Top Gun. We keep singing Welcome to the Danger Zone. And I watched the Top Gun a few nights ago, and I could see that Tom Cruise talks to his plane all the time.
Oh, he does. He loves it. Did you see the new one?
Let's see the new one.
Oh,
I liked it.
It was good. I saw it in the cinema last time I was over here, actually. So in Norway, very good film. I thought.
I liked it as
very
well.
Very good. Yeah. Talk to your plane, talk to your car, talk to whatever you're doing in life. Yeah, just talk to it. So,
It makes everything a lot more fun.
Just don't let people see that you're talking to inanimate objects. They might send you to the...
Do you know something?
To get some advice.
Many, many years ago, they used to call Prince Charles, or King Charles as is now known, just fruity because he used to talk to plants.
Yep.
Oh! But then they did an experiment. They had like 2 plants. They had the exact same conditions. Now, okay, by experiment, I mean this is like social media. It was shared in a video, so who knows how correct it was. And one of these plants they abused, and the other plants they told it compliments.
Ooh.
And the one which received the compliments thrived, And the poor one that was like told all these insults just like looked really sad.
Oh.
So they said, you know, you should be talking and complimenting.
And you know, there's a lot of, they say that with grapevines. A lot of grapevines, they play classical music.
Oh.
And the vines that are growing near the speakers have bigger grapes. You know, so it's true. It's true. It's true. Must be true. So if you're trying to grow vegetables, you know, or anything, just just talk to them, sing to them.
Yeah.
Get some classical music on the go. You know, if you want some big melons or whatever you want, then just get the music going through them. Yeah.
Wow. So if you talk to your pieces, they'll be infused with energy and they'll do the checkmating for you.
Exactly. You don't even need to do anything. You're just like, hello, my little friend. You look lovely there today. Beautiful piece you are.
But then when they get captured, they'll feel so sad.
That's true.
You could say, good job, and they would feel proud. And talking about a piece that could get captured, well, there's a pawn on f7 that is up for grabs.
At least Magnus is castled, right? I mean, I think no matter what the situation, he just had to get his king over there. And I'd be feeling a bit more comfortable, actually, if I was him. I mean, you're not going to get checkmated now, right? I mean, you might lose some other way, but your king is relatively safe for the time being.
Wow, and we've been talking about Pragg having a big attack, a winning attack. OK, he does play the best move. I was about to say Stockfish does say on our screens in front of us that one move is significantly better than the others. Every other move would have given Black an advantage, but Pragg finds it. We've called that Pragg style before. He's very good at finding those moves when they're far better than the others, and he does take this pawn with the queen. Some viewers at home might be wondering what would have happened if he had played an alternative. So in this position, he took the pawn with his queen. Very sensible, the best move on the board. If he had taken with the knight, then maybe he would have walked into a pin. The black bishop would have stepped back, pinning the white knight to the white queen. This is awkward in itself, but there's also a secondary threat now. Because the black rook has opened up, there are ideas of the pawn pushing forward. So, for example, say white makes a move. The pawn will step forward with a double attack, hitting the knight, hitting the bishop, and black is doing very, very well. Also threats of the rook just winning this pinned knight. So, OK, Pragg, of course, spotted that one. Not the most disguised idea by Magnus. If black didn't have that bishop retreat, he would have been suffering. So now after queen takes pawn, what do you think, guys? Two big threats on the board, queen takes bishop and knight takes pawn. How does black defend against both of them?
I mean, if the black centre disappears, then, you know, it's going to be just a house of cards, right? I think, and black's position will crumble. You know, I say it's a bit better for black than it was because black was getting checkmated before, and if anyone can put up a defence, it's Magnus. But positionally now, it looks pretty horrendous, right? I mean, aren't you winning that pawn by force, or is there anything that black can do here?
Well, I accidentally looked at the computer analysis. Black does have a special move.
A special move?
Yeah, and it's out of the... just push that pawn forward. And I guess the logic is that once the captures, say the bishop captures the pawn and knight takes bishop, I'm presuming, and then if rook takes, then the queen can actually capture. No, the queen can't capture. So this was me. That would be a big failing. You don't want to be doing that.
This would walk into a pin?
Yeah. I haven't seen further than this, David. I just know that d4 is the best move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to work it out now, what the best move...
Bishop takes pawn, I think, is the way to play this.
Bishop takes pawn?
Yeah, then rook f8 afterwards.
Whoa,
oh, my God,
nice,
that's
Simon.
awesome.
Oh, well spotted. Bishop takes pawn and a skewer at the end. You skewer the white queen and the white bishop. Once the white queen moves out the way, this is a check and the tables turn.
So yeah, this is the kind of thing that can go wrong, right? Yeah. If you're not careful. So it's, yeah, I mean, if he's got to find this move, though, right? I guess he's got to do a counter-attack here, otherwise this is really tricky.
Yeah, so this pawn push, we think, might be the only way for black to survive. If you just move this bishop, this attacked piece, maybe this is the other thing Magnus is calculating. The first move that came to my mind, OK, my piece is attacked, let's move it. If white takes this pawn, OK, he does find the best move, of course. Then knight takes pawn would have been very complicated. But Magnus, OK, he does decide it's time to counter-attack. No more passive play. And Evaluation Bar still thinks white's doing well, but that variation we showed, things were turning. So Pragg has to be very careful. What is his move here? You could make an argument for just taking this bishop off the board. For example, oh, I don't know. Actually, black will capture this knight. And suddenly the white king is in a bit of trouble. Oof, it's incredibly sharp.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's really hard to work out now what's happening. Even though, it's, you know, when the computer's there, okay, it's simple, but simple to say who's better. But if you're playing this position, I mean, Magnus is going to be feeling a lot more confident now. His king's safe. He's got some counter-attacking chances. So what do you actually play? I mean, do you take once and then take the bishop? Do you? I don't know.
Maybe this is a safer option. At least White's king is safe for now, but...
Doesn't look very good, though, does it?
But then you can actually go queen takes pawn and hold it all together.
I guess the white knight will jump into this square. It's still very complicated. At least here, White's king is safer than it was in the other variations we showed. It's just about the comparison of the kings, but Black is still ahead on material slightly. And rook for minor piece. Yeah, if we go back to the current position, everything's hanging. This Black bishop is loose. This is a double attack. A lot of calculation to be done. Both players around 5 minutes. We could see a turnaround, despite Pragg being in control.
Yeah, in that last line, there's a crazy thing. You get 3 pieces for the queen. You know, after rook f8, you got rook takes d7, right?
In this... Wow, Simon. OK, this is some big calculation.
just for a laugh.
OK,
so
we'll show what's going through the beautiful mind of Ginger GM.
Well, I don't know about that.
Bishop takes. This one, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and we saw this position earlier. We might be headed in that direction potentially. So this skewer, and now rook takes bishop, giving up the white queen. But after a capture on this square, I guess the knight takes and plants itself with 3 pieces for a queen.
Or rook takes f7 immediately was also the other option, I guess. So, but OK, this hasn't happened, but yeah. OK,
this is crazy. We can forgive Pragg for not going for this. Queen against 3 minor pieces. Who knows who's better here? Computer would probably laugh at us, but Pragg deciding to go for the safer option.
He often laughs at me, that's the problem. So far too often. So, yeah, I think
that's a cool variation, though.
Yeah, I think the dark squares are too weak in that one, and he's gone for this queen takes bishop, but we didn't think that Magnus was in serious trouble now, did we? He's getting some coordination with his pieces, and he seems to be over the worst. I would have thought here, at least.
Yeah, this queen's struggling for squares as well. She's only got 2 safe squares. OK, she chooses this one. There were 2 options. Yeah, suddenly it feels like Black's coordinating. Black's knight is nicely placed. Black's rook at some point will come into the action. Black can take this pawn at will whenever he wants. Yeah, it's in the balance. Yeah. Magnus has survived, and it was all about survival. That's, I think, the key in chess when you're defending. Just focus on one thing. You can counterattack later. And, OK, he hits the white queen. Where will she go?
Yeah, I like this strategy from Magnus, you know, just kick the queen around, you know, get her away from the black king. And that, in turn, releases the light square bishop, which can open up the centre line. Excellent play by the world champion.
Of course.
Even saying it's slightly turning in Magnus's favour. Could he win this game?
Definitely. I mean, it's all about momentum in chess as well. Sometimes we see a swing from completely winning from white to equal, and then that just means, as one of the players, you sense it. You know you were struggling. Suddenly you have chances. Suddenly pieces are falling on good squares. Your opponent, meanwhile, will be like, oh, I missed chances. Something went wrong. Psychologically, it can be hard to recover. Pragg also slightly low on the clock, under 4 minutes against Magnus's 5. Yeah. Anything possible in this one. Should we have a vote? Who would you pick?
I'd go Magnus now, because just the way the game's changed. I mean, he's got over this horrible opening, which we're getting so excited about. He's castled, he's attacking now. He is the exchange up, so I'm all in Magnus' side in this position here. And,
Magnus as well gets my vote, you know, exact same reasons. Yeah. And
I'll say Pragg. Just, I like White's pawn structure.
Yeah, the VAR is now going up to 0.7 for Magnus Carlsen in this battle of generations. 17-year-old Pragg against 1-year-old Magnus Carlsen. Another battle between generations. The youngest versus the oldest player in the tournament. 15-year-old Christopher Yu against 54-year-old Boris Gelfand. I can see the bar is very much in favor of Boris Gelfand in that game. So maybe the older generation is winning that battle. In the battle between our 2 Polish players, Duda against Wojtaszek, it's looking very good for Wojtaszek. We do already have one result, a draw between Ivan Saric and Arjun Erigaisi. So that means young Erigaisi is still on top of the table. If we do have a winner in this game, then that player will join Erigaisi on 17 points heading into day 3 out of 4 days in the preliminaries tomorrow. And is a win the most likely result in this game, if it is Pragg or if it is Magnus?
Yeah, I mean, even if the computer says 0 point something, I just don't see how this position is going to be a draw. It's just so wild, so imbalanced, not just in terms of material, but also pawn structure, king safety. It's wild. So a draw, I think the least likely of the 3 results there. And okay, the black knight jumps in. This looks like maybe the most natural move in the position, attacking the white rook. But of course, the computer dislikes it.
Yeah.
So that's how hard it is for humans to keep up with computers. Why could a computer dislike this move?
I don't know, David.
So natural.
It looks so natural, right?
It does, right? You know, maybe the only thing that I can think of is that the rook is simply going to move and attack the knight, and the knight has to take a decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Will
white
it-
rook is under fire. Got to move it.
What's the move? Is there a crazy one?
Okay, there is a crazy one, and Pragg has played it.
Whoa.
I was thinking about that one because, you know, only because the bar told us there was something there. You have to. That's when cheating would help, right?
Yeah.
Because if you knew in that situation the bar's changed, you'd look for something a bit outrageous, so your eyes would be drawn to this kind of move. I don't know why it works. It just, you know. Okay, wow. 2 exchanges down.
Yeah, what is the count here? Black has 2 rooks. In return, white has a knight, a bishop, and 4 pawns? I mean, someone do some maths for me, please. It's been too long a day. But it's a crazy material imbalance. And, I mean, the white king looks like it's about to get checkmated. The black rooks look like they're about to just get chopped off the board. The black knight looks beautiful. How did Pragg evaluate this? I mean, maybe he's thought there was no other option. That's the way often top chess players find the best move every time. It's just process of elimination. Moving the rook to a safe square didn't work, didn't look good, so you have to sacrifice and just hope for the best. But this one is still anyone's game, and I have a feeling both players think they have the advantage right now.
This position is so murky. We've never seen an imbalance like this, where both sides have got like this weird material combination, and both sides' kings are under fire. Just incredible stuff. I would just move the rook if I were Magnus. And, you know, black also has some tricks up their sleeve. Like the move that I would be planning and plotting would be to actually move the knight and put it on the d1 square.
Wow, OK.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're back, we can show this.
Wow, what a move. God, it's all going crazy. I love that move. That's such a cool move.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not sure it's going to happen. So this bishop is attacked. If the bishop moves, then, yeah, it will cover this square. Yeah, I mean, if the bishop doesn't move, then your idea, Jovanka,
Love it.
we should explain, is to jump in, you kick the white knight away, and once the king runs, it's going to be checkmate.
But yeah, unfortunately, as you point out, yeah.
Yeah, queen takes queen, rook takes, and back rank, checkmate. But there are ideas against the white king. I think that's the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So in the current position, the bishop is attacked. If it moves, still some ideas maybe against the white king. If it doesn't move, it will just get chopped off the board. Again, how does the computer think it's just like such a small advantage for either side? It looks like someone should be winning. OK, the bishop does move. And very sensible.
Yeah, I mean, white's pieces are looking good, and now Magnus is trying to swap off, right?
Yeah, similar ideas to what Jovanka has in mind, potentially. The white knight capturing the black knight, it wouldn't end in checkmate because this check can be blocked by the white queen. But, I mean, what a material imbalance we'll get in that endgame if the queens disappear. But, yeah, ideally, Pragg, I guess, doesn't really want to trade off his defensive knight. After knight takes knight, for example, instead of this check, black could also just take back. And still, 2 rooks against 2 minor pieces. You've got to favour the 2 rooks somehow. Really, really complicated. What a game, these two. Just entertaining. I mean, strong players and entertaining.
They always have great games, don't they? I mean, every time these two play, it's always extremely entertaining and sharp stuff. So, yeah, as this game is, this is a brilliant game.
Yeah, I mean, often we see 2 strong players just neutralising each other, just playing a very sensible, kind of solid game, and it's just a draw. But these two bring out the best in each other. This could be a rivalry for the next 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
I just saw that someone was worried about my computer after the coffee spilt on it. I'd just like to clarify, it's not my computer, its highest. So if steam starts coming up, I apologise. You know, so
to remember to save
like
all the important work I have on that computer.
yeah. So, oh dear. Whoops. So.
Meanwhile, the queens did leave the board. We showed that variation where black's queen jumped in with the check, white came back to block. And right now, again, material count. Black has 2 rooks worth 10. White has a knight, a bishop, and is it 4 pawns? It is 4 pawns. So knight, bishop, and 4. That's also worth 10. Wow. Okay. Yeah. This.
So it's equal.
That's
material.
enough counting for me today.
We need that Ken guy back again to do the maths on this game, I think.
But this position is just crazy because you have to let go of some pawns. And, OK, he's decided to let go of the g2 pawn. But the white king is now going to get mobilised, step up, attack some rooks. And then, you know, white's plan is so straightforward, you know, just push those passed pawns to their destination.
Yeah.
It looks dangerous.
Agree,
I would be
Ivanka.
terrified.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
maybe...
black,
yeah. I mean, is Pragg winning this?
Our computer seems to think so.
Oh,
The evaluation bars have really woken up. And I love this last idea, just giving away 1 pawn, just not even caring that black's rook came and took a pawn, but the white king is going to join as an attacking piece in this endgame. It's similar to what Magnus showed against Aronian. Active kings, they're just an extra piece. And, OK, the black rook moves. Wow, is this rook getting trapped, maybe?
Oh, wow.
You've got to be really careful where you go with this rook.
Oh.
Evaluation bar doesn't like it, but these are 2 very human players playing a great game. That rook does have 2 safe squares. I was going to say either you come across on a dark square or you go back up the board. Sit on a dark square, you don't want to get hit by white's bishop. Now the path is cleared for those 2 white pawns in the centre.
So hard this game to work out, isn't it? I mean, so hard. I mean, it's the kind of game where it's probably easier if you turn off the computer evaluation because it changes so much because it's so dynamic and either side can win this, even though it says Pragg is well in charge. I mean, I guess his pawns are just very scary here. Simply, those pawns are going to roll and the knight and bishop work very well together. The rooks are disconnected at the same time. Also, just mentioning Ivanka, it doesn't seem to be having a great day today. I hope he comes back into the mix, Chucky. I want to see him qualify. And still, we're Chucky fans here, so yeah, we'll see tomorrow about that.
Yeah, and maybe we can jump in to explain why white probably has the advantage here. Just dropping back with a knight check. OK, wow. I was thinking, yeah, black would love to just eliminate one of these pieces. But yeah, now suddenly the white pawn structure is broken up. The black king is going to take this guy. And Simon, you made a sound there. Not happy.
I think this is now, you know, if anyone's going to win this, it'll be black now. Again, it's changed again. Probably a draw, but you've lost all your advantage by allowing that counter-sack.
White needed to keep the knight intact, maybe just retreat it to this square, keep these 2 pawns in your pocket for later. It's black's dream to get rid of his rook for your knight and 2 pawns. And if we catch up with the current situation, big mistake here from Pragg, strategically, just dropping his knight back, allowing this transition. Suddenly, in the current position, yeah, it looks like a draw. Simply, the white bishop will hold everything together, defend the pawns, but the black rook is superior in general. So,
can white actually think about winning this game? You know, after all, as you've highlighted, the king can run in, grab some pawns.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the onus is still on black to defend this one.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised Magnus's last moves. I mean, here he had the white king cut off. Why not just defend the rook?
Look at his body language, David. I mean, he just, you could see that. I mean, he just did some sort of very upsetting, you know, I've messed it up again kind of thing there. So you're right, yeah. Why has he done this? Yeah,
if he just protects the rook with a pawn, the white king cannot break through towards those black pawns. But he moved the rook, trying to keep the king cut off, but the cut-off is broken, and this barrier is no longer existent, and yeah. Oh, sorry, me and my arrows. The king is coming in. Wow, Magnus has played a really weird move this last one, dropping the rook back. The whole idea, I guess, is that if the king marches forward, the black king will also step out the way, and the king is cut off on this line. But yeah, maybe you're right, Ivanka. Maybe white is the one hoping for the win still. What a crazy game. It's up and down and up and down.
It's a great game. Yeah.
We are definitely following the action in this game, but we're also joined by a player who is finished for the day. Anish Giri, hey, congratulations with the win in your final game.
Hi, thank you.
What has today been like, Anish?
You want my hot take on the hot matter, or
Well,
what is it? Or are we going to pretend, we're going to ignore the elephant in the room there?
well, you said it. What do you think about Magnus resigning against Niemann? Are you shocked?
Yeah, I mean, the show must go on, yeah. It reminds me of... it's like when you play poker and you bluff, on the first, because I saw he plays poker, so you bluff on the first, then comes, another card, you keep bluffing, and then another card, and you keep bluffing. But, it looks like, he's clearly insinuating something, but, until you catch someone, you cannot do anything. So, it just looks very odd now. I mean, clearly, it all makes sense if supposedly Hans is cheating and he doesn't want to play him. But if he doesn't, then it is really very wrong. So I don't know. We have to see. I mean, again, everybody is expecting some kind of big rabbit from the head with Magnus, but he just doesn't want to play Hans, it seems. And it's quite interesting that the game after that, he played so well. I was thinking, you might be disturbed, but he was just undisturbed. Really a special human being, for sure.
Mm. Are you, like the rest of the chess world, basically calling for Magnus to explain this and maybe come with some evidence against Hans?
But I think it's pretty clear that he doesn't have it. Because if he had, there would be no need to do that. It's pretty clear to me that he is convinced, or near convinced, that that is the case, based on the evidence that already is public. He just took that call, and it's a big problem, playing people who have been banned, and especially who have admitted to cheat online before, because you lose trust in these people, and that is a major problem. Also, insinuating of cheating is a big problem. So all of these things, they have to be somehow resolved. And I mean, my word of advice for young players, especially the talented ones, there's so much damage you do to yourself when you cheat online, in some small events, because these things, they stick, and then afterwards the big boys, they don't trust you anymore, and that's not good. So yeah, definitely, with this drama, like every time you need some new information to keep the drama going, but today, with this thing, it'll definitely keep spiraling for a while. Just crazy stuff going on. And it's not clear how it will end, because as we see, like, I don't think Magnus has anything more than what's there. I mean, there is the repeated cheating online. There is the slightly weird character that Hans is portraying. But, just the fact that all of that doesn't mean that he cheats all the time, or doesn't mean that he cheats over the board. Or it's just very, very confusing. Not much to add, really.
Well, and you play Hans Niemann tomorrow in round 10, Anish. Are you uncomfortable playing him?
Let me be very frank. Because I knew about all this. Everybody knew about all this stuff about online cheating, and we know about online cheating by multiple other players as well. Okay. It'll be because these things, they just leaked, and these are not the top players, but young players who have been banned on various websites. I always thought there is a possibility that Hans is cheating, but looking at my own games, I have conviction that he never did that against me, because he usually plays very badly. But either way, there are swing levels, level swings in his play, and that might very well do with the fact that he's very young. There are also many level swings with everyone, but in particular with the young players, because they know some positions better, they know some position less, they looked at some lines, they didn't look at some others, they studied some Catalan lines, didn't look some, anti-Berlins. So, I'm eager to play Hans. I've done very well against him before. He plays very poorly against me, so I'm not concerned. But of course, he seems to be improving. His rating is rising, whatever the reason is, whether he's just legit very strong, or what Magnus is trying to insinuate. But either way, it is, of course, an exciting game, but can be dangerous as well. So I'm looking forward. Whenever I play, I always push these thoughts away. And I heard that Magnus said the same in some interview, but I don't know what happened to him. Like, whenever you play, you have to just assume that the opponents don't cheat. It's like one of these, it's one of the psychological issues that players chess players struggle. And normally you don't withdraw, you just, if you can't deal with them, you go to therapist. and you deal with those, because there are always issues. And I mean, I've heard from my colleagues many people insinuating not insinuating, telling directly, suspecting other colleagues of cheating. It's always a thing, and I guess in other sports they have that with doping or whatever, but you just have to push these thoughts away, because it's just very disturbing. You cannot play when you think your opponent is cheating. You just cannot play. You cannot play an engine. You think you'll lose for sure. You must push these thoughts away, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I think it's important that everybody tries to do that.
Yeah. Very interesting hearing your thoughts on this issue, Anish. We wish you best of luck tomorrow as well in your fight to qualify for the knockouts. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'll do my best. Thank you.
Very valid point from Anish Giri there. If you do suspect of cheating and you can't get that out of your head, that must be almost impossible to play. And maybe that is what's going on with Magnus resigning against Hans Niemann. This one, is it now going to be a draw?
Yes. I'm slightly surprised Magnus went for this last move, giving up his rook for White's bishop and pawn. White is a pawn up, but some calculation is needed. If the White king can make its way and win Black's pawn, it's game over, but Magnus knows his endgames, and there's not going to be a way for White to win this one. Black keeps the opposition like he does here, blocks off the advance of the White king, and we're just going to see a shuffle by both kings here. No way through. This is endgame 101. King of pawn endgame is so tricky, but if you know your stuff, you can save a lot of points. Yeah, this one, it's so unfair, chess. You see the most exciting game, roller coaster game. They always seem to end in draws, however. And king versus king. Did you see that? Magnus just clapped, applauded Pragg, and we have a draw.
Wow, that is so interesting. Magnus Carlsen and Praggnanandhaa, they keep having the best fights in the Meltwater Champions Chess Tour. And this one went all the way down to king versus king. A draw between the 17-year-old and the world #1, Magnus Carlsen. Now we are, oh, look at that. An applause. What is that about when he's applauding?
I think he just loves players who go for him, who really embrace the battle, who play chess to the highest standard, and he knows that Pragg is a potential challenger to the World Championship